We have a major report. According to an NBA insider, he recently gave us an update about the Knicks and their trade plans for Giannis. We're going to break down all of these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Update on the Knicks and their trade plans for Giannis. After New York traded for Karl Anthony Towns, a report came out from longtime NBA insider Mark Stein. And in that report, he indicated that from discussions and conversations he was hearing from around the league, if Giannis was going to be traded to another team and he was going to be asking out of Milwaukee, one of the teams he wanted to join was the New York Knicks. And recently, NBA insider Ian Begley with SNY spoke on this situation about the Knicks potentially trading for Giannis. And in his report, he mentioned that whether it's the Brooklyn Nets or the New York Knicks, Ian Begley did report that Giannis is a fan of the New York market. Let's see exactly what Begley had to say. Roll it.
We've got one here from Dylan Backer. Dylan wants to know, how serious would the Knicks be about looking to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo should the Bucks continue to crumble? And would it be a move they'd strongly consider pursuing? Now, my thing with the Giannis stuff is obviously the Knicks have gone all in with their Mikal Bridges trade and their Karl Anthony Towns trade. They don't have significant draft capital to move. But even taking that out of the equation, one of the allures of trading for Karl Towns is A, they had a voided center, but B, Towns, the best shooting big man in the NBA, one of the best shooting big men in the NBA, he stretches the floor for this offense, and you're seeing the benefits of that over the course of early on this season, where the Knicks offense has been mostly good, has been putting up pretty strong numbers. And so if you're saying trading Towns for Giannis and you're the Knicks, you're taking away that shooting, right? You're taking away the big guy who's stretching the floor for you, which was a big reason why they pulled the trigger on that Towns trade. So I can't see them including Towns in a deal. Now listen, if Milwaukee was gonna, listen to them on other players, not named Towns, and maybe you put together a deal where it's 2 or 3 other players, maybe, the Knicks would strongly consider that. But it would surprise me if they said, hey, we're going to flip Karl Towns and get Giannis in here. One of the reasons is because of the shooting. The other is because they seem committed to this group, and they seem to want to see how this group looks and see where it can take them. Now, maybe the other team in town, the Brooklyn Nets, would have more serious conversations with the Bucks if it got to that point, because the Nets have that draft capital that they can go ahead and take to the table with Milwaukee in any talks for Giannis. Depending on who you listen to, Giannis does like the idea of being in this market. Knicks or Nets, I don't know, but he likes the idea of being in this market. So I think the Nets could come to the table and be, a contender there for Giannis if the Bucks decide to go ahead and make that move and break up the franchise by moving Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Shout out to Ian Begley for giving us the following updates about the Knicks and their trade plans for Giannis. He gave us a lot of great information there, but one of the key takeaways, and we have to mention first, is that the Knicks do not have enough assets at this point in time to trade for Giannis. And if they did, they would likely have to gut their team in order to get Giannis on the roster. Now, whether the Knicks want to do that or not is anybody's guess. I would think they don't want to do that because, as Begley said, they are invested in this team. They like this team, and they want to see how far they can go. You don't know how far they can go if we're just talking about one season early on. So I think the Knicks are at least going to give this team 1 or 2 more years before they make any type of notable or major change to the roster. And I'm talking about via trade or free agency or something like that. They're not going to hurt the team and separate the team at this point. They built this roster for championship contention. And if it's not going right early on, they're just not going to scrap those plans and move on to something else. They're going to push forward and continue with this team. Though he mentioned something else that was very important. He said, maybe if the Knicks did not have to include Karl Anthony Towns in the trade, and you have to assume if they don't have to include Jalen Brunson in that trade, and they can make the money work in another way to get Giannis on this team, maybe they would do it. As you just heard from Ian Begley, they have a strong consideration to add Giannis potentially if they did not have to lose Karl Anthony Towns in that move. But the reason that Begley mentioned that he doesn't think it's realistic is because if you look at the money and you make the math work, it's likely you're going to have to include somebody of Towns' level or maybe of Brunson's level to get a player like Giannis on this team. And I don't think the Knicks built all of this just to give it away for one player in Giannis. The shooting that Karl Anthony Towns gives this team, the way he can stretch the floor, what he gives our offense, almost nobody in the NBA can do that or complement this team in the exact same way. Offensively, I said it a number of times, the Knicks really don't have a problem on that side of the floor. It's the defensive end. But if you trade Karl Anthony Towns for Giannis or another player of significant value on this team for Giannis, we're not the same team. Maybe we're even a worse team than we are now. We have to understand, trading it away or trying to make things better via trade doesn't always work. Chemistry is important. It matters here. You can make the argument that the reason we look as bad as we do right now is because we're lacking that chemistry. If we had it, who knows how we would look right now. But we have to wait a couple more games just for this team to gel more and they can get more consistent. That's the key. More consistent on the defensive side of the floor and hopefully get healthier where they can bring more players back. But going back to Giannis and this trade, even though the Knicks do not have the trade assets available and they likely don't want to make a move for Giannis, it's very interesting to note that Giannis likes the New York market. He wants to be part of the New York market, as Begley just said and we heard. And shout out to Sports Illustrated for giving us this breakdown of what Begley just mentioned. Ironically enough, the Knicks' assets could be used to acquire Antetokounmpo, but because they reside now with Brooklyn, it gives the Nets the best chance to acquire him if he wants out and wants to join the New York market. As Begley hinted, the Nets could use their own excess draft capital, part of which was acquired from the Knicks in that trade for Mikal Bridges, to make a move for Milwaukee superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo, who again likes this New York area. I'm extremely ecstatic to hear that Giannis is a fan of the New York market. And I think if the Knicks had the assets available and they had the motivation, they actually wanted to, I think they would pull the trigger and try to get Giannis on this team if he was actually available. As of right now, according to the Bucks, their management, what they're putting out there, Giannis, Dame, Doc Rivers, they're all safe. Nobody has anything to worry about on that end. Again, it could be all smoke, but that's the information we know as of right now. And we also know that the Knicks are not going to pursue a Giannis trade right now. We're focused on our team, trying to be a team above 500 and a team that looks championship caliber, a team that could be considered a championship contender. Right now, we're not even playing up to par like that. We barely look like a play-in team with the type of defense that we have. So I appreciate the update from Ian Begley. I love the fact to hear about Giannis, his interest in the New York market, the fact that maybe the Knicks would entertain a Giannis trade if it didn't include Cat and likely Jalen Brunson. All great information, all great updates, not knocking that. But right now, no trade is going to be able to fix this. No trade, no players that we add, nothing is going to be able to fix this because anything we're talking about is going to make us a different team and gut this team. It's going to change things, and you cannot make up for chemistry. Chemistry is the most important thing. New York has to build it. Each and every game throughout the season, you're going to see that continue. Offensively, we're going to continue to get better, and this offense is going to wow people once it starts to gel the right way. Defensively, we're going to have a hard time until the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau make the adjustment that we need. Putting another big right alongside Karl Anthony Towns, at least for 15 minutes a night, and watching what that lineup does. And I think magic is going to happen if the Knicks are able to do that, because it would put Karl Anthony Towns at a position that would unlock his full capabilities. That would make him a free roamer, which would make him unstoppable. In my opinion, we don't need a massive trade right now. What we need is adjustments. What we need is a little bit of change. And what we need is an expansion of the rotation. Play more guys. Play more bigs with Towns. Do it for certain times, during certain games, under certain circumstances, and see what happens. Because if the defense flourishes, I think that lineup is something you're going to see more and more each and every time. Let's not worry about who's coming back. Let's not worry about who we're going to get later on, who we might trade for. Let's worry about our current house, our current team, who we currently have, and utilize the players that will make us a better team. That's what I want to see. And this Knicks team has the capability to do that and so much more. But what about you guys? What do you think about the updates provided by Ian Begley regarding Giannis and the Knicks potentially going after him? Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.